Hello, everybody, and I would like to thank my wonderful subscribers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Mr. Nightmare reaction. And today, we are going to be watching Glee 2, Sounds in the House horror stories. I've heard plenty of sounds from my house, but usually all of them can be reasoned out. We have some appliances that make a lot of noise. If there are footsteps, that usually my brother taking out the dog in the middle of the night. Usually there's a logical explanation behind every noise. And, every time I hear one of these noises, I can usually, none of the times I've heard it could be a full story. None of my encounters could be a full story. So yeah. Needless to say, I don't have any horror stories about noises. But maybe they do. I hope they do. I mean, they have to. It's a whole 24-minute episode. So, get into it right now. Okay, let me get those here.
44.
Give me a minute. Ooh, this looks really classic. Really classic. Mr. Nightmare shit. Okay. Story 1 by Mark.
So to start, my family history is very tragic.
Aw.
My parents got into a serious car accident when I was a little kid.
Oh no.
My dad passed away in the hospital from his injuries.
Damn.
My mom had lasting injuries that still affect her, making it difficult for her to walk. My dad left us the house.
Cars are dangerous, guys. I hope you guys know that. Cars are dangerous. I don't drive, and if I had it my way, I wouldn't have to, but people have to drive. It's the way the world works nowadays. Can you imagine being the first person to ever make a car? Obviously, you would have to narrow it down, but imagine being the first person to make the first car. Imagine changing the entire world with your invention. Can you imagine that? I can't.
That my mom and I continued to live in for many years to come.
Yeah.
Eventually, my mom started seeing someone when I was around 10, so she'd be out of the house quite often. My uncle Steve would often stay at the house for days at a time while she was gone.
Oh,
I got really close with him. He was my babysitter of sorts for a long time.
Yeah,
he was always a cool uncle. He'd play catch with me in the yard, he'd take care of our pets, he'd take me to the movies, stuff like that.
He would basically your dad.
Memories I didn't get to form with my dad, unfortunately.
Yeah.
As the years went on and I got older, my mom got married to her second husband.
Okay.
My uncle Steve would come around less and less.
Aw.
By the time I was 16,
you didn't see him
a period where he just didn't come over for months, and I didn't hear from him.
That's sad.
My mom was comfortable leaving me home alone.
Imagine being that kid, and you see your uncle a lot, and he basically your father, but then your mom gets married, and then you just start seeing him yes and yes over time. That has to be so sad.
So I didn't question it too much, and having the house to myself was always nice.
Yeah. I guess that's a positive.
My mom would be home a couple nights a week for dinner, but for the most part, she lived with her husband.
What?
My mom was always very vague, having the house to myself was always comfortable leaving me home alone at this point, so I didn't question it too much, and having the house to myself was always nice as a teenager. My mom would be home a couple nights a week for dinner, but for the most part, she lived with her husband.
What the fuck? So you basically lived at a house?
I had my suspicions that he was sick or dead, though.
Oh.
It may sound weird that my mom would hide something like that from me.
Yeah.
But if you met my mom, you'd get it instantly.
What?
Because of what she went through. I think it made her a much more compassionate person that doesn't want to cause any kind of stress or grief toward another person.
Okay.
By the time I turned 18, I was a legal adult, and the house was basically mine.
Yeah.
My mom would visit occasionally, but she and her husband had already gotten another house together.
What?
As an 18-year-old guy having a house to myself, you could imagine that I wasn't complaining.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd have friends over for late nights. Yes, I'd have girls over.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd often not pick things up off the floor for days at a time.
Damn.
I would miss my Uncle Steve, though,
Aw.
as he was the father figure that I grew up with.
Well, yeah,
there were times where being in a big empty house by myself at
it
such
felt
a young age
lonely.
was kind of lonely and depressing.
Yeah.
I would numb this feeling often by
doing
the things I just mentioned, having girls over,
okay.
late nights with friends. I still had my dog Jojo,
Yay.
the only other life in
Pupper.
the house, really. He was an Australian Shepherd, and at the time of this story, he was 13
Never
years
get
old.
hurt,
He was an
Jojo.
old man. He always slept by my side in bed.
Yeah.
But one night in January,
Oh, no.
I remember this because the Christmas tree was still up.
Yeah.
I woke up, and Jojo wasn't in bed.
Oh, no.
I got up thinking he was downstairs somewhere, and he had to go to the bathroom.
Was he at your closet door?
Down the stairs. I didn't hear him, so I walked to the kitchen where the basement stairs and back door were, and I saw him in the dark. He was staring intently down the basement stairs.
Oh, no.
I usually left that door open because it was a bitch to close.
Really?
He moved when he turned his head to look at
How
me for a
so?
second, but then he looked right back down the stairs.
Oh. You have to check it out.
The stairs and then looked at Jojo and said, "What is it, boy?"
Check it
His tail
out.
started wagging just a bit for a second, then went stiff again.
You need to go
I
down.
flipped on the light in the basement and looked down the stairs. Jojo inched closer, but didn't bark. I felt a cold shiver run down me as I looked down into the basement. Of all places for your dog to stare down like this,
the worst
basement
one.
is the worst place.
Yeah.
I turned off the light and grabbed Jojo by the collar to bring him upstairs.
Well, no, you need to check it out.
So he couldn't leave again.
It might be dangerous.
Yes, a little.
Yeah.
It was unusual behavior for him. I was mainly asking myself what he could have heard.
Yeah.
I tried to go back to sleep.
You couldn't?
At this point, my mind was kind of racing, though.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that every few minutes or so,
you
I
hear
would
a noise
and feel the vibration on the bed as Jojo would look up at the doorway, as if still hearing something from downstairs.
Yeah.
I decided I would investigate.
Yes,
I wasn't
good.
gonna be a mama's boy
What
and
you're
text my
supposed
mom
to.
at whatever off hour in the night it was, telling her I'm scared. Part of not having a father figure in the house when you're young is becoming a man early on.
Yeah,
I went downstairs again, and by the time I was at the bottom, I heard Jojo walking down, following me.
Oh, you
Jojo then caught up to me and went straight for the basement door again.
Okay.
He stopped in the same position as last time.
Oh.
I stopped alongside him and looked down the...
Okay, first sit up. Dial 911. Put the numbers in, but do not call 911. Do not call 911 until you actually see someone. And then take a weapon. A knife, a baseball bat, a gun, anything. Take a weapon. Take 2 weapons. I mean, well, actually, you need the phone in one hand, so, take 1 weapon.
Stairs to the darkness again. I can't believe I did this.
What?
I called down the stairs, saying, "Is someone there?"
Well, okay, say it better.
No,
you need to say it better.
I started walking down the steps, each one creaking beneath me.
Oh.
I hated those old steps.
Yeah?
You couldn't see into the basement until you were about halfway down the stairs, as the ceiling was low. I was on maybe the 3rd step when I heard the voice. It was my uncle's voice.
What the fuck?
I knew it right away.
What the
all
fuck?
these years later. It was my uncle's voice from somewhere in the basement,
Okay.
saying my name. Only it sounded weak, like he was injured.
Oh, God.
I ran down to the basement as my heart...
No, wait. This doesn't make sense. At first, I was be like, did the mom kidnap him? But then, that doesn't make sense. If he was kidnapped, there's literally no way the dog wouldn't have barked a billion other times. And then there's no way the kid could have, been in this house all those years without noticing his uncle being in the basement. So, no, this has to be a new development. But then, why would the uncle be in the basement?
Out of me. I got to the bottom. It was just an empty basement.
Oh.
Uncle Steve? I called out.
Say it
He
louder.
was still at the top of the stairs, looking down at me. He didn't want to come down.
Of course he
Walked
doesn't.
further into the basement.
Come on.
There was nobody there.
Go to a
My heart
corner
was
of the
beating
room.
100 beats per minute at this moment. I peeked behind the couch and even behind the TV. There was nowhere else for anyone to be besides the laundry room, which was in the corner. I took one look into the corner, and I thought I heard the slightest sound on the other side of the door. That's when something just came over my entire body.
What?
I had to sprint
Chills?
upstairs like a little kid and get out of there. When I got to the top step, I didn't even shut the light. I struggled to just close the basement door and then run upstairs.
What are you planning on doing?
Barks the first barks I'd heard from him in months. He followed behind as fast as he could as I went upstairs.
Are you gonna call 911?
First thing I did was lock us in my room.
Okay.
And I called my mom over and over until she picked up. When she did.
What are your mom gonna do? Your mom, what? Is she gonna tell you to investigate or you call 911? Nothing happened yet. You're gonna look crazy.
Whisper screaming into the phone, telling her someone's down in the basement, and it sounded just like Uncle Steve.
Okay, tell me about Uncle Steve.
Uncle Steve. I told her that Jojo was at the basement door when I woke up, after he obviously heard something too. My mom was surprisingly calm and just let me finish.
Okay.
When I finished, I waited for her to say something in panic or anything.
Nothing?
And she just said in a gentle, calm voice that I probably just woke up from a bad dream.
Oh, come on.
I doubled down and swore to her that someone was down there.
You need to go down there yourself.
I asked her if she thought I would just make that up. This is where she paused for a second, and it's because this was the moment she decided to tell me the truth.
Okay, what happened?
Uncle Steve got sick with cancer and died years ago, and that's why he stopped coming over.
Oh,
Before she could finish her explanation, I told her it's not possible. He's down in the basement right now. She then stopped me and said, listen to me. If someone's in the basement, you need to call the cops right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I hung up, dialed 911, and told them of a break-in. Jojo and I waited in my bedroom until there was a knock at the front door, followed by the doorbell.
You better hope whoever is there is there. But let me tell you, whoever is in that basement has so much time to leave this house. Like, you didn't even lock the basement door. All they have to do is open the door, walk out, go upstairs, go to the front door, unlock it, open the door, and run away. Let's be honest, the suspect is gone. The perpetrator is out of here.
Basement. The basement door was still basically jammed shut like I left it.
Oh, okay.
They told me to wait up there, but I didn't listen.
It is a bit to open, I guess.
I reenacted everything as we went down.
Okay.
What I heard, when, and where. Then I showed them where I looked around. And then I pointed to the one spot I didn't check.
It was open?
The laundry room, where I heard the sound.
It was open?
They went to open the door, and I showed them the light switch. When the light turned on, there was no one inside.
Yeah.
The laundry room looked how it always looked. There was no one hiding in any secret crevices or behind the machines. Nothing. It was as void of people as could be.
You look crazy now.
I knew I was looking crazy right about now.
Oh yeah, no.
We went back upstairs, and they did a little search of the first floor as well. Then the upstairs. The house was as clear as it could be. There was no one there. They were at least pretty level-headed and not demeaning about it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the easy thing to do.
They left, and I went back upstairs to call my mom again. She picked up right away, and this is where she finished explaining.
What?
My Uncle Steve died years ago, but she didn't want to tell me because she knew I suffered enough loss, and she couldn't bring herself to tell me.
Yeah.
So she just played it off like my uncle kind of disappeared, which I yelled at her was infinitely worse. But that also didn't explain my hearing his voice just now in the basement.
I mean, if be honest, it could honestly just be that you hallucinated it. I mean, either... Okay, there are two possibilities. Either you hallucinated it, you dreamt it, whatever way you want to explain it. You heard something that did not exist. That, or somebody was down there, and somehow they made his voice happen. What, did they have a recording of it? And what were they trying to do? Were they trying to lure you into the basement? Why? The one thing that contradicts my hallucination idea is the fact that the dog actually seemed to, be on the same wavelength as you. So, maybe there was somebody in there. And maybe they did have a voice that sounded like your uncle. But maybe it just sounded like that. Maybe the sentence was short. Maybe you, made up the rest yourself.
I calmed down and then said into the phone, Mom, I'm scared. She believed what I heard. I know it, and that scared me even more. She tried to convince me everything would be all right and that my brain was playing tricks on me.
Probably,
Pretended to agree. We hung up, and I pulled Jojo close to me.
Aww,
he was the only thing keeping me from freaking out of my skin that night. I didn't fall asleep for another few hours. For a whole week after that, life in that house was hell. I couldn't go anywhere near that basement door. Jojo wouldn't stare at it.
I would basically just seal it. I would seal it.
I know it was all real because Jojo was reacting to something.
Yeah.
Had Jojo not been there, I could have played it off as a late-night hallucination or mind tricks.
Yeah, you could.
But no. Someone or something was down there.
Yep. Two people saw it.
My mom sold that house just a year later.
You moved?
Sorry to interrupt.
God damn it.
But this is important.
Okay, so, yeah. That does it for story number 1. Pretty good. I liked it. I have a lot of questions, but I feel like that's kind of the point. I gave you my theory, and maybe I want to hear yours. So yeah, get into the next one right now. Story 2 by Tonnet.
This happened when I was 24 and renting the upstairs of an old house by myself.
Oh, yeah, the duplex.
It was more like the second floor had been turned into its own little living space years ago. There was a bedroom, bathroom, tiny kitchen, and a living room. And the landlord lived out of state, so I almost never saw him. The first floor was empty and had been for months because he was supposedly renovating it before renting it out again.
Okay.
That part always made me a little uneasy because it meant every night I was sleeping above a completely dark, empty floor of the house.
I mean, that's not that weird.
Cheap, and I told myself I was being dramatic.
You were.
For the first few weeks, nothing happened. Then one night, around 1 in the morning,
what happened?
While I was in bed doom-scrolling, I heard what sounded like a single footstep directly below me. Ooh. It was so clear that I actually froze and waited for another one.
Nothing?
A few seconds later, I heard another.
Oh!
It sounded exactly like someone slowly walking through the first floor living room.
Shit.
I sat up in bed and
the whale slow with water.
I remember thinking maybe it was the house settling, but it didn't sound like that.
What does house settling mean to me? I understand the first word, house, but what does settling mean? Well, what does that word imply? What is settling? Like, this guy didn't do anything to make the house unsettled.
Old house noises usually had more of a creak or a pop to them.
Yeah.
This sounded heavier, like actual weight pressing on floorboards. I stayed still for a long time.
That's nonsense.
And finally convinced myself it had to be nothing. The next day, I checked the first floor on my way out.
Nothing?
It was locked. I even opened it and looked inside. The place was empty and dusty, with no furniture except for an old broken table in one room.
Oh.
I felt stupid for being unsettled.
Well, yeah.
The next night, nothing happened.
Unsettled, settled, resettled.
This time, it started at around 12:30. It was the same thing. Slow footsteps below me. 3 or 4 at a time. Then silence. Then a few more.
I was toward it.
Minutes. I muted my TV and stood in the middle of my living room listening down through the floor. I kept telling myself there had to be an explanation.
You heard it over the TV?
Maybe pipes somehow sounded like that in this house.
Okay.
But deep down, I knew it sounded like a person moving around. I texted my friend Scott about it, and he made a joke that the downstairs tenant had finally moved in.
Ha!
Over the next week, it kept happening. It was always late at night, and always from downstairs.
Okay, so if you know, like, when it happens, then why don't you just, like, wait all night downstairs? Like, okay, whatever door or barrier separates the two areas, why don't you just, like, wait a couple hours into the night when you're sure it's gonna happen, you wait by the barrier, you open it, you look around really, really, really fast, and then you'll see if there's anybody actually there. I don't know if I would do that, but you could.
Sometimes there was footsteps, but once it sounded like a cabinet door shutting.
Okay,
that
see,
was the
that's
first
something.
time I got genuinely scared enough to call the landlord. He sounded annoyed more than concerned.
Of course he does.
Said no one had
you
keys
bothered
except
him with nothing.
Me, and he was out of state. He told me old homes make weird noises.
Oh, come
on.
on.
If I was really nervous, I could call the police, but he didn't think there was any reason to. That response actually made me more uncomfortable, because now I felt like if something was wrong, I was on my own.
Oh, yeah, no.
One Friday night, I was out later than
I mean,
usual,
don't
and didn't
trust
get
your
home until
landlord
almost
to
2.
help you.
The second I stepped into my upstairs apartment, I felt something was off. I don't know how else to explain it. Nothing looked different, and the lights were off like I'd left them, but something felt different. I stood for a second listening, and everything was quiet. But then directly below me, I heard a thud.
Oh.
It sounded like something had bumped into a wall or a piece of furniture downstairs.
You gotta check it out now.
I backed up so fast, I almost tripped on the rug. I remember just standing there, staring at the floor, like I could somehow see through it.
You can't.
Then came more footsteps.
Oh, where are they going?
And sat in my car with the doors locked. I actually called the police that time.
Okay.
2 officers came and checked the whole first floor and outside of the house.
They
found
dumb.
nothing.
Yeah.
One of them said there was no sign of forced entry and no one inside.
Damn.
He was polite about it, but I could tell they both thought I had gotten worked up over house noises.
Yeah.
For the next few days, I kept...
I mean, hey, guys, what else do you have to do, right? Aren't you guys usually just in your car doing nothing? Actually, never mind. I was gonna say something to the effect of, wouldn't you rather be doing this than doing nothing? But then I realized that if they're doing nothing, they could probably just watch YouTube the whole time. So, never mind. I guess this is a waste of their time.
Thinking maybe they were right. Then I started noticing little things.
What?
Once I came home from work and the first floor door was open by maybe an inch.
Ooh.
I knew I closed it after the police were there. Another time, I smelled cigarette smoke outside the side of the house near one of the downstairs windows.
It's a smoking slow water.
Neither do any of my nearby neighbors. At least not from what I knew. Then one night, I heard the footsteps again. Only this time, they stopped directly beneath my bedroom.
Oh.
I was lying in bed, and it sounded like whoever it was standing still in the room below me. I held my breath and listened. After maybe 10 seconds, I heard a very light tapping sound. 3 taps, then silence.
On the roof or on the wall?
I can't explain the feeling going through my body at that point.
Horror.
I felt like I was
absolute
being watched
dread.
in that moment, even though that made no logical sense.
You are.
I grabbed my phone
You're
and
being
texted my
heard.
friend asking if I could come stay at his place. While I was waiting for him to answer, I heard the tapping again. 3 more taps in the same spot. I left without even changing clothes. The next day, my friend came back with me because I didn't want to be there alone.
Good.
We checked the whole place.
That's a
and
good
again,
plan,
found nothing.
actually.
But when we got to the downstairs kitchen, he crouched near one of the lower cabinets and said, "What is that?"
Oh no, what is it?
There was a cigarette butt jammed way in the back under the cabinet toe kick, almost hidden. It looked fresh. That instantly made everything real for me.
Yeah,
Somebody
nice
had
clue.
been there. At that point, I stopped
And the smoker.
I called the landlord again and told him exactly what we found.
They don't
He seemed
care.
more concerned this time.
Oh, they
Said
do
he'd drive
care.
over the next day. That night, I stayed somewhere else. When he got there the following afternoon, he called me and said there was nothing obvious. One of the back windows downstairs didn't lock right.
Oh,
It looked
that's an
closed,
entryway.
but from outside, it could be forced up enough for a thin person to get in. He said maybe
That's all
somebody
you
local
need.
had figured that out and was using the empty first floor when no one was around.
Maybe.
Hearing that made me feel sick.
Yeah.
I asked him if he was going to fix it right away, and
No.
he said yes, but I already decided I was done. What really pushed me over the edge happened that same evening when I went back one last time to get some clothes and my laptop. I was upstairs stuffing things into a duffel bag when I heard a sound come from below that I hadn't heard before.
A voice?
It was a cough. And there was no mistaking it.
Damn.
It came from the first floor hallway. For about 2 seconds, I just stood there digesting what I just heard.
Yeah.
Then I grabbed the bag and ran out so fast I left half my stuff there. I called the cops again from my car. This time they actually found evidence someone had been coming in.
Okay,
Through
good.
the back window, there were fresh marks and dirt on the sill. In the
Yeah.
closet downstairs,
Clue.
they found an old blanket I had never seen before. I moved out that weekend. Ever since then, any sound of
I get it. I'm just kind of like, really? Did they move out because of this? Isn't housing, really expensive? I guess if it becomes too much, it becomes too much, but, come on, your landlord is about to fix the issue. I mean, unless this person really wants to be in this house, I don't think they're gonna keep trying to break in after the window is fixed. You know, like, I don't know, I thought housing was, like, really expensive and that moving was a pain, but I don't know, the people in these stories always seem to move really easily. Sorry, guys.
At night hits me differently.
Yeah. Also, like, so the guy is a smoker. He smokes. And yet somehow, this is the first time he has ever coughed. Because if you did hear a footstep, you can definitely hear... If you didn't hear a footstep, you could definitely hear someone coughing. Especially if it's, like, into their hand or something, like... Yeah, I don't know, like, I assume that smokers would have, like, heavier coughing noises than the rest of us. But yeah, I think I am gonna save... Okay, out of these two stories, the first one definitely hits a little harder. I think it's because this one had a bit more backstory. Not every horror story needs a backstory, but it really does help immerse me a bit. So yeah, we will do the story in part 2. Bye!